All right. We're live. Well, guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Carnivore Backwoods. This is my Carnivore Life interview series that I've started. Mike Shaw here from Mike Shaw TV is my guest tonight. He's going to be, talking about his journey on the carnivore diet and how he got here. And we appreciate having you guys here. If you're coming on the replay, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. We appreciate you. Make sure you check out Mike Shaw's TV's YouTube channel. And, we'll having a trouble streaming to Facebook.
Oh, no. The Facebook peoples are being left out.
I've had this happen before. Just 1 second here. I think I can fix it.
Yeah, not a problem.
Anyways.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
It gives us time for some people to get in here. It looks like we're up to a couple.
No, it's all good. I don't know if you heard, my neighbors upstairs just dropped something.
Oh, I heard it.
If that
all right,
happens,
now,
oh, you did.
Now we're up.
It was pretty loud.
We're up on Facebook. So,
Nice.
Mike, how you doing tonight, bud?
I'm doing great, man. Appreciate you, John. How are you?
Well, I appreciate you being on the channel. I appreciate, and I appreciate your support. You've been on my live stream on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen you out there and about. You've been making some, contact with other subscribers, which is cool. Or I mean, other channel creators, which is cool. So we got a couple people in here. If you got questions, for Mike or for myself, please put a Q in front of them, because it makes it hard for me to find them otherwise. I had somebody get mad at me because I missed their question, but I'm looking for Q's. I have to skip over comments. Anyways, looks like Richard from Copper Hill. What's that?
I was going to say, until you've run a live, you don't know what that multitasking is like. So be easy on John.
Yeah. Anyways,
be nice.
So we're starting to get a few people in here. We'll go ahead and start, Mike. So, Mike, give us a little background on yourself.
Okay, so I was born at a young age in Compton, California. We moved to Oregon when I was 8. That's where I grew up. When I was turned 21, I ended up not going to college. I was going to go to University of Alaska at Fairbanks for meteorology and minor in communications. And that didn't happen. I was a little too responsible at 18 years old. So I ended up moving when I was 21 with a friend who had family in Roswell, New Mexico. It was a small town, a couple radio stations, a TV station. I knew I had to start in a small market. And I talked myself into my first radio job there and worked in Roswell for 9 years. By the time I left, I was the TV weatherman on the local TV station, and then went to Lubbock and did morning show TV there until about 2002. Became a Christian in 2000, started volunteering at Family Life Radio. They moved me out to Tucson and was their news director they have stations in like 13 states. And oversaw our small news team. And then after that, I made some Tea Party videos that went viral and got recruited into the Republican Party, became first vice chairman of the Pima County Republican Party, and then chairman when our chairman got kicked out. And then I had a news talk radio station in Tucson for about 4 years, and then became the political director for the Republican Party of Arizona on the state level. And then my mom was dying, so I went back to Lubbock and got to escort her home. And she died right when the pandemic started. And so I did call centers for a couple of years. And now I've had an opportunity to move up here to Iowa. I moved here in March. And that's kind of the story of my life, probably the fastest I've ever told it.
Yeah, the comment about Roswell obviously got somebody to put up the alien question or the alien
every
post
time.
in there. Every time.
Every time. Yep. When I moved there in 1984, no one was talking about the aliens. Roswell was going to be the next Albuquerque because they were the banking center for the oil fields in the Permian Basin. And Roswell was growing fast. Well, then the oil dropped out in the 80s down to $20 a barrel, and that was a bust. And then later, I think it was early 90s. These two authors wrote UFO Crash at Roswell, and then everything exploded. And I was a TV reporter at the time, so I got to interview those guys. I got to interview some of the people in the book, the crotchety old man who ran the mortuary that's in the book. And I mean, it was good times. It was a lot of fun.
Interesting, interesting. Well,
Yeah, yeah.
that sounds like a whole different episode that we could have a long discussion on. Uh,
Sure.
maybe a different channel. So,
Right.
so give us a background on your diet. You know what diets you've
Yeah.
done, and you know how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I was in good shape. I was an athlete in school. I mean, I'm short, I'm only 5'5", but I played football and I was fast, so I ran track and so I was in good shape till about, well, when my wife got pregnant. So then I started putting on weight with her. I guess we were both eating for two. I don't know. And by the time I was in my 30s, I used to drink a lot too, so that didn't help. And probably in around 1999, I started jogging to get my weight off, and that worked really well. I did that for 2 years, got up to 3 to 5 miles a day. But then I tore my ACL playing basketball with people at work on the weekends. And so there went that. And so I started packing on the pounds and I got pretty big. Again, I'm only 5'5", and I didn't really have a scale at the time, but I'm sure I got over 200 pounds back then. I'm well over that now. Um, so so what I did was, this is fast forward to Tucson with my news talk show that I had. We got a sponsor, which was a medical weight loss program. What it was 850 calories a day, and they give you HCG shots. I think they are some pregnancy hormone thing. You can smell everything. It's wild, but you lose weight on that. Probably a fair amount of muscle weight too. Not the diet I recommend, but I did lose 40 pounds. And then from there, I went to a HIIT training gym and started doing HIIT training 3 times a week and lost another 13. I was doing really well. The owner of the gym suggested I do keto. And then he wanted me to carbo load on the weekends and work out and see if I could get buff. And so I didn't buy into all that, but I did research keto and it sounded like a good idea. So I went on keto and was doing okay, but I was having trouble sleeping. So I saw a video on supplementing with magnesium. So I did that and spent a week in the bathroom. It's a laxative, by the way. So that was not fun. I got discouraged and ended up buying a pizza and got a Blizzard from Dairy Queen. And that the yo-yo diet began. So I put most of the weight back on. Then I tried keto again, lost some of it again. Went better this time because I had learned. Eventually, what really worked for me was the carnivore diet. This was 4 years ago when I was living in Phoenix. I was doing a steak a day. So I was eating one steak around lunchtime every day. I did that for several months, lost most of the weight. People are like, what are you doing? You're looking great. Cause I see some of my old photos. I'll have to do a video on this sometime. Some of my old photos as political director with my suit and my tie going out like this, and
Let
so
me
I
ask you a
lost
quick
the weight on
question.
that. Sure,
Not to
sure.
interrupt you, but just to ask you a quick question. So 4 years ago, there wasn't a lot of information out there on carnivore. A lot of it's come out in the last, basically almost the last 6 months, to a year.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so where were you getting your information from? What got you spurred into carnivore at the time?
Oh, that's a great question. I think it was Dr. Barry. The early days of Dr. Barry. Was he around 4 years ago? He must have been. Um, so Dr. Barry, I think, was part of that, probably a big part of that.
Yeah,
And
that's when
I'm
he was
not sure
going
what else.
keto to carnivore.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I think so, because he did some of those early video. He did a video with What You Know or something like that. And he did an interview with him. And then of course, Dr. Peterson, when he was on Joe Rogan, that thing went viral everywhere. And I'm not sure how long ago that was, but I think it was around that time. So yeah, that's what got me into the steak a day, and it worked really well. But then my mom got sick. I moved back to Lubbock, and she died, and the pandemic hit, and it was rough, man. It was really rough. So I fell off the wagon hard, um, and put the weight back on for for a year and a half, and then I got back on carnivore last year when I was still in Lubbock, and I did it for about 130 days, lost 25 pounds. So not everything I needed to lose, but was making good progress. And then I moved to Iowa. And when I moved to Iowa, it's like, Mike, great to meet you. I've got a wonderful church family here, just great people here in Iowa. And, it's like, hey, come over for dinner. We want to get to know you better. Hey, I'd like to take you to lunch. And, I'm going to say, well, only if you're having ribeye. I didn't want to be that guy. So, you're eating Aunt Matilda's casserole and having dessert. And then, of course, when you're cheating like that, I love ice cream. So I was doing ice cream every day. And that's a very efficient way to gain weight, by the way. So now, I've gotten to know everybody. It's much more established now. I'm back on keto. I'm back on mostly one meal a day. I'm down 12 pounds or so in 45-ish days. My mental clarity's back. My tinnitus is better. My eyesight's a little bit sharper. What else have I noticed? The floaters. Someone brought up floaters on a live sometime. I was like, oh yeah, I don't see my floaters anymore. So it's pretty cool.
Isn't it funny when something comes up like that and then you just realize, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like I was watching Dave Mack's stream one day, and he goes, yeah, my plantar fasciitis is gone. I went, wait a minute. And I thought about it, and I was like, man, so is mine. I completely forgot about it because I dealt with it for 15, 20 years. So it's amazing stuff. What was your highest weight?
So a lot of that time I didn't have a scale. I can look back on the pictures. Probably I was biggest before I went on one steak a day. And then I look at some of my current pictures from 2 months ago. They're close. Probably weighed a little bit more 4 years ago. And 2 months ago, I weighed in at, remember, I'm 5'5". I weighed in at 231. So I was kind of round, So I got to get back in shape. Mike, round is a shape. So, yeah, all right. So it's getting to the point where my clothes are starting to fit better, and I've had one person comment, so it's getting to be a little bit noticeable, which that's always encouraging. And even when you don't exercise on this diet, your muscles start to tone up a little bit. You start to tighten up. You come together a little bit. So I'm adding exercise, and that's going to be really good.
I'll give you the warning because this happened to me last week. I went out and we did a bunch of hiking. I ended up gaining 5 pounds. Not that I gained weight or not that I gained fat. Right. I gained 5 pounds of muscle. And I'm slowly but surely, have lost weight since then. But I gained 5 pounds of muscle, so it kind of took me back a little bit on my weight, loss.
Right.
But I'm still losing fat. I probably lost 100 pounds of fat. I've only lost 73 pounds of weight total. But if you took the fat out, I got my belt. I've got 12 inches of movement on my belt from March 1st to now. That's 12 inches of girth.
Amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. That's
and
great.
when you talk about adding the weight, that's so good for you. It is so good for you. I don't know if you've seen Mike, High Intensity Health. He always brings out these studies. His videos tend to be a little bit long, so I don't always watch all of them, he gets a little bit technical, but he talks about, especially when you get older, I can't remember how old you are. Your beard's about as gray as mine, not quite.
I
So
turned
I'm
49 last
60.
month.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. I'm way ahead of you. So I'm 60, and 60 plus, it's hard to put on muscle, and it's hard to retain muscle, and it's harder to lose fat, according to these studies. And I'm thinking, well, have they studied any carnivores? Because I have a feeling that we're going to defy their logic in this. Because I already feel so much better, and I've only been on for a month and a half, and I'm just expecting good things. And when you put on weight or put on muscle, that's just a metabolic store for your body. And I don't plan ever leaving this diet. So I'm playing the long game now, and I'm in it for yes, I do want to look better. I do want to lose weight for sure. But I think I'm thinking more about the health first now that I'm older, and the rest will take care of itself.
Okay. I agree with you. You know, um, so I mean, you've already kind of answered your some of your non-scale victories. Is my mic down? Do I need to speak up for you? Notice you've been
No. These popped out of my ears a little bit. So it's
okay.
not you, it's me. Right.
Just make sure my audio is good. Anyways, you've already kind of talked about your non-scale victories, but you have any others that that just pop out? Anything that what? So let me ask you this question: what is your favorite non-scale victory?
It has to be the mental clarity. I just love it, getting up in the morning, whether I have coffee right away or not. My brain's already, I don't get the brain fog,
Mm-hmm.
and I have my peers that and myself a few months ago trying to find the words, or trying to, it's just without that, with the mental clarity and sharpness, it's just, I love that. So that's probably my favorite.
I see there's a question or so in there, but we'll get to those in a minute. Um, Let me ask you this. So you've gone off and on the diet, and you kind of indicated that a lot of it was social, pressure that was, coming in from you. Is that how you would describe it? Or do you think you were, just, emotionally eating or what was it going through your head at the time when you came off the carnivore diet? Because I think that's a really good point. Because I mean, we all say we're on the carnivore diet, but there are people who fall off it, and it doesn't get talked about a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I've experienced both, right? So when my mom died and then the pandemic hit all at the same time, that was definitely emotional eating. I mean, I went through a really rough time with that, for obvious reasons. Everybody had a rough time that time of, in our history just a couple of years ago. So that was really hard. And so I was like, I don't care. So I didn't care. So I just ate whatever comfort food because I wanted to feel better, I guess.
You were
And then,
stressing
yeah,
a lot of your
I was
mother.
stressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was stressed. And then when I moved here, that was more social. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm pretty much an extrovert and I love people, and I like to joke around, and I like to hang out, and I like to talk. And so when someone invites me over, I'm like, yeah, of course, let's hang out. And so, again, especially being new and people inviting you over to their house and they want to get to know you, it was hard for me to say no. There probably would have been a better way for me to handle that. And now everyone knows I'm on carnivore. So it's kind of preemptive now, and
Which brings
everyone
me to
here accepts it. Yeah. Yeah. It's
brings
good
me to
here.
my next question for you. Then is so obviously you've put some game plan together for how you're going to deal with these social events to keep you from losing track of your diet.
Yeah. Well, and one of the probably the main one is just kind of brilliant. When you eat one meal a day, I mean, you're already done eating by the time you get over there. It's like, can we get you something? Well, not really. I'll have a glass of water. And I'll watch you guys eat, but we can visit. So, I'm, yeah, I mean, that's kind of preemptive too. That, one meal a day, you've already eaten. And plus, like I said, they're all my friends now, and they understand. They're rooting me on, actually. So
That's good. I I try to, if I know I'm going to be in a social event like that, I'll try to eat beforehand, so that even if I eat one meal a day, I'll probably still go snack on something, just so there's no temptation. I'm not going to be hungry, you know, eat some ground beef or a burger or something, and just get some food in your stomach, so that when you're smelling those smells and looking at all that stuff
Yeah.
that's on the table, it doesn't even affect me. I don't even blink an eye at it. And I don't have a problem, you know, I'll pick through and find some stuff that I know I can eat, and that way I'm at least ways being part of it, and there nobody feels like I'm shunning their cooking or something. But you know,
Right. Right.
it's a
Yeah. I mean,
balancing game.
if they're having some meat, or some sausages and, stuff like that, I could definitely partake. But I don't, I think a lot of people that describe this, after you've been on this for a while, it's been a month and a half now and I'm back to OMAD. I mean, like, for example, Sunday mornings at church, there are so many donuts at church. And so, I mean, and I don't get tempted with it one bit. And when I was not eating this way, I would pig out on those donuts. I'd have at least one, probably two, and maybe a few donut holes. So it's like, for
I tell
some
you what,
reason, and I'm thankful for it, doesn't affect me right now.
I live in the South, and in church you go there and they bring in. I mean,
Yeah.
in the South there, I don't think there's a food dish that gets brought in that ain't loaded with carbs. So you're just like, oh my goodness, I'm walking through the valley of death here.
I tell you what, John. So, Mama and Papa lived in north central Mississippi, and we go to visit every third summer or so. And Mama went to the Primitive Baptist Church, and boy, those potlucks. And Mama could cook, and she used to make a caramel cake. And so, the cake itself is really good, and the frosting, you caramelize sugar. So it's pure sugar is the frosting. And it just hardens on there. You have to use a blowtorch to cut it. And so, yeah, that's the kind of stuff you're dealing with down in the deep South. I get it.
Yeah, yeah. When
Yeah.
I was a kid and I used to come out here and visit my grandparents, who lived down here in Loudon, Tennessee, which is about 30 minutes south of Knoxville. Um,
Okay.
every couple of weeks we were having what they called an ice cream social, and you'd go to these things and there'd be 100 people there, and they all brought their own homemade ice cream, and you could go around and get all this ice cream. And I mean, I loved it as a kid. I mean, when I was 9, 10 years
Yeah.
old, that was the thing. The ice
Yep.
cream social. You'll hang out with people, a lot of them your cousins and stuff. But you'd eat all these different flavors of ice cream. That was a great thing. I don't see those anywhere around here. I haven't seen anybody have a nice ice cream social, but I've been to some really big
Yeah.
church potlucks, and everything there is like, oh my goodness. Let's grab a
Yeah.
couple of these questions, Mike, and we'll get back to it. Somebody up here, Cheeto
Nice.
Keto, wanted to know about your sword on the wall, and I've had that question too, so I was going to ask you about it.
Hey, Cheeto Keto. It was probably about 5 years ago. Well, actually, before that, but 5 years ago, I used to Twitch Minecraft. And so that is a diamond Minecraft sword from Minecraft, made out of a hard foam. And one Christmas, I got one for each of my grandkids, and I got an extra one for myself. I've been playing Minecraft since it came out. My son turned me on to it. And so that's what that is. It's a Minecraft sword.
Yeah, I figured it was Minecraft. I was just curious because I know you got that, and there's something else in your background too. I think there's a cross.
Yeah, it's a cross. That's on my
Oh
other
yeah,
shoulder. When you
yeah.
go
I
wide, you
can't
can
see
see
it.
it.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah, right there. So I used to work for when I was working at Family Life Radio before they moved me out to Tucson to be at the corporate headquarters. I did 2 years in Odessa, as I like to say it. What are you in for? Anyway, Odessa, Texas. So, but there's a teen challenge there, teen challenge of Permian Basin. And we used to work together, on air and off air. And it's just a wonderful program. And for my birthday, they got me that cross. So it's a broken mirror pasted back on the cross, symbolizing your broken life that's put back together on the cross. I get goosebumps when I talk about it, like right now. It's a really special gift and I love it. So that's what that is.
Okay. It looks like this is a two-part question here, and I'll make sure we understand it. Question: I was wondering if people were told your body has one chance to lose and only one, can't fail. And then she said, how would it be different or would it be okay? I'm not sure what she's referring back to. Something in our discussion there. You follow that?
Well, I'm going to try and take the first part literally. If people tell you your body has one chance to lose and only one, um, if that's what you mean, I would say, first of all, I hadn't heard that before. I have heard the dangers of yo-yo dieting, um, but I haven't ever heard anyone say, if you don't lose it the first time, that's your best shot, and you're doomed to yo-yo the rest of your life, if that's what you're getting at. I haven't heard that, and certainly I don't believe that's true. Earlier you were talking about this community,
So I guess the
and I
question is
love
based on if it was that way, would it be different?
Yeah, so I think it is. It is different because I don't think it is that way because we've seen how many thousands of stories in our community of people who have yo-yo dieted for years, maybe their whole lives, and then they discover this way of eating and they stick to it. And there are so many people that are part of the I Lost 100 Pounds Club. And then my country music joke, Carnivore's like playing a country song backwards. You get your girlfriend back, your dog runs back home, you heal from your metabolic diseases, you lose weight, and your mama gets out of prison. Everyone should try it.
So I'm going to say hi to Callie here. She's one of my top followers. She's always in there. Well, that and Renee's always around too. So Callie, I appreciate you. See something. I think Chafee's in San Diego presentation, not him live. Okay.
Nice.
Callie says, I'm curious if we have something sweet, how long do you think it takes our body to recover from it? Well, it depends on where the sweetness is coming from. Some sugars go through you quickly, and some carbohydrates take longer. Some take your liver to process. So if you're using if it's sweeteners, that's going to have to get filtered through your liver before it disappears. So I don't know if I could give an exact time. What do you think, Mike?
Well, unfortunately I've tried this a few times. So when I was on keto and had been on keto quite a bit, I was actually working for Teen Challenge in Arizona for a while, and we had a Christmas party, and I decided to eat what I wanted, cookies and cake and all the things. And it took a week, I would say, before I started feeling right again. First of all, your brain fog comes back like the next day. That's stinks. And then when you eat keto, you're getting rid of all the bugs in your digestive system. So your gut biome is completely different. So when you pour carbs back in there and sweets, you're going to end up with some digestive distress, I guess you could call it. So that's no fun. It took me a good week to get back to normal, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
of course, you'll put some pounds on like that.
Yeah, you'll put some pounds on quickly if you get too much sweets in your diet. I ate some taco meat where we put some taco seasoning in it. And man, you want to talk about it? It was distress, and I won't touch it since. And I don't know what was in that taco seasoning, but whatever it was, my body did not like it. Now that I've eliminated 99% of everything that I eat except for animal based. You get off track, you'll know it. But as for the sugar clearing out of your system, I mean, most of it's going to be pretty quickly within 24 hours. But some of it, like you said, could take days up to a week to completely clear out of your system, depending on what type of sugar it is, because they're not all created equal.
I think so, and neither one of us are doctors, and I don't know if you're a nutritionist. I don't think so, and I'm not. But what I've heard from our wonderful doctors in the community and other nutritionists like Low Carb Down Under, things like that. Some of the things you can do if you do fall off the wagon, you could try a fast. A fast would be a good way to burn up that glycogen and get it out of your system. But certainly you want to get back to your proper way of eating. Exercise can also help burn that off. So just 2 suggestions if you ever find yourself in such a conundrum.
You know, a fast is a great way to jump metabolism. I'm on one right now. We're going for 48 hours. So right now I'm at over 24 since I ate last, and I'm going to go another 24 before we eat tomorrow. And it's a great way. I do it every other week, and it's a great way to get things moving. My weight, I'll end up losing some weight, which will be fat. And, my body will start consuming it because it knows I'm going to eat. And I do this. I've set it up that every other week I do a 48-hour fast. And me and the wife both do it together, and it's worked out well. And I'll probably do a longer fast once or twice a year, but I haven't committed to that yet.
Yeah, I think my longest is 48 or 50. I was doing some alternate day fasting there for a while at times. It is a great way. If you find yourself in a weight loss stall, it's great for that. And everyone's different, of course. And, it took me a little while, since this is like my 3rd time on carnivore, and then I've been on keto a couple times besides. So this is like my 5th run at it. So I really feel like I kind of have it down now. And I got into OMAD fairly quickly. It only took me a couple weeks to really feel ready for OMAD sort of naturally, where I just wasn't getting hungry because this way of eating is so wonderful. And once you get fat adapted, when I've tried my first alternate day fast and my first 40, it was not that hard. I was surprised. It was not that difficult. But like I said, everyone's different, but yeah.
Once I get through tonight, I'll be fine. I'll get to the point right about now where I normally eat, and my body be like, "Hey, is it about time to eat?" And I'll be like, "Nope." And I'll get through that. I'll go to bed tonight. I'll wake up tomorrow. I'll feel fine. I'll have my coffee in the morning, so I'm not coming off my fast, but I'll have a little bit of coffee. And I'll go the whole entire day. And then by tomorrow night, this time, my body be giving me double signals. Hey, you didn't eat yesterday. You're going to eat tonight. So, it's not a hunger pain, but it's this constant, you really need to eat. I find by the 48-hour mark.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. The hunger signals are so different. You don't get angry on this diet.
You have to relearn, because what you think were hunger signals were actually just carbohydrate cravings, and actual hunger is completely different.
Yeah.
Callie says I get really bad headaches when I ate some sweets. They cause inflammation. They cause all kinds of issues, and some sugars go directly to your bloodstream and into your body, into your head. So that's definitely a possibility. And that's just a learning, thing. You learn, okay, I can't do that, and you'll avoid that, in the future.
Yeah. I mean, that's something Dave and I talked about, because Dave had me on his channel and put that video out a few days ago, which was really cool. And so one of the things that we talked about was, you just, when you do fall off, get right back on and learn from it. So, I've been off and on this enough times that I've learned a lot along the way. And then, of course, we have this wonderful community to support each other and to share knowledge that we've learned, and our wonderful doctors. So, don't look at it as failure, because it's not. It's just a learning experience, moving on with greater knowledge, leading to greater success. I think that's right.
So give us some suggestions or tips that you would have for somebody who's struggled, maybe fell off, the diet, and, your thoughts on, what to do and how to get back on track.
Yeah. First thing is, don't feel bad. I mean, feel bad a little bit to learn from it, but don't stay there. If you get depressed, if you start calling yourself names, watch yourself talk, just get back on the diet. That was yesterday. I thought I would enjoy that meal. I did when I had it. I regret it now. And then just get back on track and forgive yourself and learn from it and move on. And, maybe use that to come up with some strategies so that if you find yourself in a similar situation or a similar emotional state, that's what it is a lot of times, that you would have, ways to cope with that and not do any self-harm, because that's what happens. When you look back on it, it's like you have those regrets, and it's like, man, I punished myself because I was feeling bad, thinking that it was going to solve my problem. And so just remember that, and then maybe write it down somewhere, or at least make a mental note, so that you can learn as you move forward.
Good information. Good information. This was, I think, an answer towards Callie's comment here. It says, if you're testing ketones, it can take 3 to 7 days, depending on how much carbs you ate. So there,
Yeah.
like I said, it could happen quickly, but depending on the carbs and what it was, it could take up to, up to a week, maybe even longer, depending on how your metabolism is working, to whether or not you're going to get that out of your system. And it's a learning event. You'll say, you know what, that didn't work very well. I don't think I want to do that again.
That's right. It's like touching a hot stove. It's like, I don't want it. Ow! I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah.
The ketone thing, the same thing applies with the ketone thing, right? Do a fast. That's a great way to get the glycogen out of your system. I think it's really interesting. A lot of people are doing the Dr. Boz 3-day sardine fast. And I don't test my ketones anymore. I imagine on carnivore, I'm mostly in ketosis or mild ketosis. I probably. So I did a 2-day sardine fast. I was watching my friend's house and their dogs, and I was thinking, should I bring a steak over and mess up their kitchen and have to wash their dishes afterwards? Or I decided this is a great opportunity. I'll just bring some sardines with me. So that's what I did. I did a 2-day sardine fast. I don't know how Dr. Boz came up with 3. I don't think it's required. So I did 2 days and lost 2 pounds and wasn't hungry. And I like sardines. They tasted good. I put Tabasco on them and it was pretty good. Now the transition back to steak, that was a little rough. So I did spend a little bit of extra time in the bathroom on that transition back, but that's my report on my 2-day sardine fast.
I bought some sardines and I tried eating some, and it was after I'd been on the diet for a while, and they just tasted like to me, and I like sardines. I've ate sardines all my life, and
yeah,
they weren't bad. They just didn't taste like much of anything. They didn't taste like anything I wanted to consume. So I haven't touched them since. I probably got 10 cans sitting over in the pantry. That I haven't even touched, and I guess if I get hungry enough one day, I could eat them.
That's right. Yeah.
They're not been there. I don't know. I just haven't followed. I've heard a lot of people talking about the sardine fast, but it hasn't been my thing. I like the fast I'm on now. I can tell you right now, I can feel the ketones rushing through my body because it changed. It puts you at a higher alert. Your mind's functioning at a higher level than even when you just get on this diet. So, the fasting every couple of weeks is really intense, but it's a good feeling. Callie says she's learned a lot from John and his guests. I really want to succeed in this way of eating. Callie, you're doing great. You're doing good. If you got any questions, you can always reach out to me. I'm thinking, Callie, I'm thinking about doing a little local meet and greet. We can just do something quick around here. If you're interested in doing something like that, let me know. I know there's some other people in this area. I'm also thinking about doing a bigger meet and greet, something like that, maybe in the spring where we get, try to get 30, 40, 50 people together, but that's a bigger plan.
That sounds great. Where would that be?
So I live in Knoxville. I live outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. I was thinking somewhere probably around the Sevierville or Knoxville area, because everybody likes going to Sevierville, Pigeon Forge,
Knoxville.
Where are you at now? You in Oregon, or where are you at?
I'm in Harlan, Iowa. It's a little dinky town about an hour northeast of Omaha in rural Iowa, surrounded by cornfields.
Okay. So
is this heaven? No, it's Iowa. I love it here. It's great. The reason why I asked is I've got a cousin who lives north of Memphis in Western Tennessee. I've got
That's
a couple other cousins in Olive Branch, Mississippi, which is a suburb of Memphis. And so a trip like that would be awesome because I could see them and hang out. I mean, I don't know. I always say I'll do stuff and then I can't, but keep me
well,
posted.
you would
If you
definitely
do
be
that,
welcome, Mike. And like I said, I'm not going to plan it for any time soon. I might do like a little
right?
meetup, a little meet and greet where we meet up and talk for a bit. Um,
Yeah.
but a bigger event that's going to be spring of next year at the earliest, so we can get past the winter weather, be getting into some decent weather,
Right.
but try to do it before the humidity rolls in here and it becomes soup weather.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
I,
Yeah, I
I
experienced
don't.
that for the first time here. We had one day the dew point was 80 and the temperature I think was 100. It's miserable. Like, how do people live like this? But they do. I mean, in Tucson it would be 110 and the dew point would be 55, but it felt like 109. So it's not as bad. But
So
sorry,
looks
that's the
like
weather guy in me coming out.
we got Becky on here. We'll say hi to Becky.
Hey,
She says she's
Becky.
late. She says she's late as usual. So
She's a fellow
um,
Oregonian. Yep.
she's from Oregon. We forgive her.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I
I
lived
love
in
Oregon.
I lived in northern Nevada most of my life. I'm not
Oh,
from Tennessee.
wow.
My
Like
my
Elko or Runamukka or Winnemucca?
I lived in Reno, and I lived outside of Reno in a little
Okay.
area called Silver Springs, just south of Fernley, like you headed back
Okay.
towards Vegas. But I lived in Lovelock. I actually worked at the correctional facility in Lovelock for several
Oh,
years. I own land in Elko and north of Elko and Wild Horse. I own some land down to the Ruby Mountains, so that I bought a few years
that's
ago.
awesome.
My mom lives in Sparks, so I got family all over there.
Yep.
My dad was
Yep.
born here in Tennessee, and I've always loved it. I used to come out here as a kid. So when we decided to get out of the desert, we
Yeah.
were looking around. We looked at Wyoming. We looked at a few different places, and Tennessee is where we decided on. And I tell people I spent 40 years in the desert, and I spent the last 10 years, out here. I finally got myself out of the desert, wandering the wilderness of the desert for 40 years.
That's right.
But yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm from that area. I spent a lot of time up in Oregon. Used to go up to Bandon. I had a friends
Uh-huh.
that had family and friends up there, and we would go out and go deep sea fishing for salmon and cod, and we'd run crab pots off the dock and stuff. Those were all good times. That's been 20 plus years ago, but
Yeah.
that was fun time. And I've done all the lighthouses all the way across, California and Oregon, where we went and visited every single lighthouse. Me and the wife just drove up the coast through there. So
Oh, that's great.
anybody that's never done that, California, it's okay, but the lighthouses in Oregon are gorgeous. And I never made it past that. I wanted to go farther up to see some of the other lighthouses, but the ones in Oregon are absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. So that whole drive, Bandon is on the southern Oregon coast, and Northern California, Southern Oregon, that's where the redwoods are too.
Yeah.
They're right there. So you've got to experience that at least once, because that's just amazing. You have to see it if you get a chance. And then that drive up the Oregon coast is all rocky and, lots of driftwood and logs and
You got the sea. What is it? The sea lion cave there.
Yep. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
All the lighthouses. Bandon. What they refer to that. They call it Bandon by the Bay. Some great stuff up there.
Yeah, world-class golf course too. I used to play it when I had Tiger Woods Golf on my Xbox. It was always windy, so I don't know. It's probably true.
You ever been to Reno?
I've been through Reno. I had a flight that went through Reno, and so I played the One-Armed Bandits while I was waiting for my next flight. Is the only time I've been physically there. Now, if you remember the Google Plus days, There's an anchor in Reno. Her name's Melissa Carlson.
Hmm.
Yeah, so you know who Melissa is. So Melissa would have me and other people on her show to comment on the news. She called it her, the G plusers. We'll get the G plusers in, and what do you think of this, that, and the other? So I hook up my webcam, and I was living in Tucson at the time, and I was live in Reno. So I kind of know. I feel like I know Reno a little bit just from that experience, but I've only been through there once or twice.
There's a big casino out there by the interstate called, it used to be called Bally's, and now it's called GSR. Um, Anyways, they have a massive parking lot, so they have this massive drainage pond. And so, well, I don't know, it's been 15, 20 years back, somebody got the bright idea that they were going to turn it into a driving range. And see, I don't play golf, but I can smack a ball, And so we would go out there and you'd buy a bucket of balls, and we just sit out there and we would just, and if you hit the islands, that was cool. And there was one island out there, if you could put it in the hole on that island, it was like I don't remember, it was a big jackpot, $10,000 or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, you just sit out there and, and drink beer and smack balls out there on that island. I can remember that when I was, 17, 18, 19 years old. Actually, I was like 20, 21 when I found out my oldest son had been conceived, and we were actually there. That's what we were doing, was going up there to hit the driving range or the bowling alley, one of the two. Anyways, that was another story for another day. But yeah, you just brought it up about golf. I don't play golf, but I do like to smack some golf balls around from time to time.
Right.
All right. So back on topic here. Any tips that you would have for somebody who's beginning, fresh, just starting the carnivore diet, things that you wish you'd known when you started, tips for anything along that lines?
Yeah. Well, the keto flu is a real thing. So whether you're jumping straight into carnivore or whether you're jumping straight into keto, and everyone's different. I've heard a lot of people say you want to ease into it. I kind of disagree with that. I'm kind of a cold turkey kind of person. I just kind of draw a line in the sand. It's like, okay, here's what I'm eating starting this day. And I think that's fine. But what's going to happen is your body's used to burning glucose. You're not giving it carbs anymore. And it's not adjusted to burning fat yet. And so it doesn't know what to do. And so it's during that adjustment period, it's going to have real trouble. You're going to have headaches. Some people get dizzy, lethargic, weakness, all of those things. The best thing I've found for me that helps is just salt. If I felt a headache coming on during the carnivore flu, I would take like a salt and just down it and wash it down with water. And a few minutes later, it'd start to feel better. So that would be kind of my biggest tip, is you just want to make sure, because also when you get rid of carbs, it's carbohydrate. So the carbs are holding on to the hydration, it's holding on to the water. And so you're going to lose 5-10 pounds in the first few days of water weight.
15.
And yeah. Okay. Yeah. And as that water rushes out of you, it's taking electrolytes with it. So you've got to put that back in, definitely increase your salt probably by a lot, like, eat it out of a tablespoon, even if you have to. But I think that's the number one thing that helped me. And then the other thing is just the mental game too. It's like, okay, this is going to last for a week or maybe two. I'm going to have diarrhea probably as my gut biome adjusts for a week or maybe two. And I've heard some people up to 4. I feel sorry for them, but that's going to take an adjustment too. And if mentally you kind of have to go through, that'll help you get through. And then also remember that your next meal is going to be a steak, and that tastes so good. So that's helpful too. That'd probably be my biggest advice.
Salt is a really important one. A lot of times when you think you're having a craving, or you think salt is a big one, people don't realize how much salt they consume in a sad diet. Ultra processed foods are all contain a high amount of sodium that's added to it. And so
Right.
you're getting that. And when you cut out and you go clean and you start eating just whole foods, you suddenly, your body's like, hey, I need some salt. And so a lot of times, the headaches, the cravings, and that goes back to Callie's thing, when she's talking about headaches, you might take some salt. You might find that helps. I
Yeah.
I take a pinch of salt. I carry a little salt, shaker, from Redmond's in my pocket, and I'll just put a little pinch of it and put it in my mouth, back when I was still having issues with it. And that would get rid of the hunger cravings or the craving, whatever you want to call it. And it also helped with the headaches or anything like that I might have been getting. And I,
Right.
make sure I always have water handy, so that,
Yeah.
I can constantly be hydrating myself. I sip on it, all day long when I first started on this.
Yeah, because that's the other thing I forgot to mention too is with that water loss and the salt loss and the electrolyte, you're going to get cramps probably too, and that's no fun. Like get a Charlie horse in your calf at 4 a.m. It's not fun.
And
Get up,
people,
stand
people
on
have been
it.
lied to, and they think that salt's going to drive up their blood pressure. I'm one to tell you that
Mm-mm.
that is absolutely false. I have a great video on this if you guys want to go watch it on my blood pressure. I've
Yeah.
watched my blood pressure daily for every month that I've been on this diet, and I have it averaged out, and I have it on the screen so you can see it. My blood pressure has been coming down dramatically since I started the carnivore diet, and I consume an immense amount of salt. So,
Right.
salt does not drive your blood pressure up. Mike, we're pushing 50 minutes. Well, 52 minutes here.
Mhm.
Tell me about your channel. You're Mike Shaw TV, but you've gone carnivore. So kind of give me the back on your channel and what your plans and vision is for the future.
Yeah. So my channel used to be like if you can go look at some of my early videos. There's some clips on there from me in the radio from Tucson days, and there's probably a couple political videos from the radio days on the early part of the channel. Then I switched over to phones. I started. I'm really into tech. I really love gadgets, and so I started doing phone videos. And I've owned, you name a phone, I've probably owned it. From the Samsung S5 on, I've had the Note. Let's see, I had the Note 4. Well, the Note 15 for sure. 17, 19, 20, Note 10 when that came out. Yeah, I'm getting my numbers mixed up on the Samsung Notes, but I've had most of the Notes. And yeah, this is the 7 that was exploding, so I had that one. And then I've had most of the iPhones. I've had every iPhone pretty much since iPhone 5. And same with the Pixels. I have a Pixel 7 Pro as my camera right here. And then I have my iPhone mini. So that was my channel for a long time. And I did occasional videos, but I have a couple of them that did really well. But I just hadn't been feeling it. And then I got back on carnivore. I've always kind of been around the fringes of the community. But now that I've really committed to it, I started, going into chat in lives and mostly, and going onto people's videos too. But it's the lives where the magic happens, man. I always say I'm the guy in the chat room who's always goofing off in the back of the class, distracting everybody, trying to make people laugh. And I always say carnivore lives are the new bar hopping, because it's just fun and you just meet so many people. And through that, I've done a few collaborations with John. This is the second time I've been on with you. I've been on, Dave interviewed me of No Carb Life. Let's see, I've been on Carrie's channel, My Metamorphosis, I think 2 or 3 times now. And then I did a live together with Meeting Wellness. So my friend Christy over there. So you just start to meet people, and it becomes a real community, and you have real like friendships, and you look forward to seeing, like, Susan just showed up. Hi, Susan.
Hey,
And
Susan.
Keto Oregonian, I see all over the place, and
Becky.
others. Matthew, I saw earlier. Yeah, I like
We
saying
got
ketovore.
Lucia, we got Callie, we got Susan, we got FR.
Yeah.
A lot of people, a lot of faces. You see them, constantly. They're, we're talking.
Yeah.
It absolutely is a community. And then you go to like the
Mm-hmm.
meetups, like I did last weekend, and you end up going face to face with some of these people. Is really cool too.
Yeah, that would be great. And I do want to do some of those. I don't know when or how, but I'm going to keep, I'm just going to stay informed. And if something's near me or something I can get to, I'm going to do it because I'm looking forward. Because when I was on TV, people would stop me in the store and they'd say, Mike, I really like your show. And you look taller in person. So I can't wait for that to happen at a meetup too. So.
All right. So Becky says, I got married in Reno. I lived over the Sierra
Whoa.
Nevadas on Beale Air Force Base, and we used to pop over to Reno once in a while. We had a back gate through the foothills connected to I-80. Becky, I was married at the Chapel of the Bells in Reno, Nevada, 24 years ago, the 29th of September. I celebrated it early that last weekend, but yeah, I was married right there. I posted a picture on my Facebook back in my younger days when I was lean, mean, and skinny. And I definitely married, up in class. My wife was absolutely, just amazing. So, anyways, yeah, I spent 40 years pounding around the Reno area, so I know it well.
It's kind of a cool place from what I can tell. And just my obsession with weather. I mean, they do get snow. They do get seasons. Yeah. So I like that. I'm a fan.
She said, Grateful Keto says, I'm an all-in type of person as well. Callie says, I went straight into carnivore from SAD. The bathroom usage is just starting to taper off. It gets better from here, Callie.
It
You're
does
doing
get
fine.
better from here, Kelly.
That's the roughest part. Once you get through that, then it's pretty clear sailing.
Yep.
Lucia says, I've been cleaning my yard listening as I'm back. Lucia, we appreciate you. Salt is essential. What else I got here? Enjoying good information. You must know the ringmaster moved from
Tucson to Phoenix.
Tucson to Phoenix.
I'm not sure who she means by the ringmaster, but maybe.
Maybe she'll clarify.
I don't think she means me. I moved from Tucson to Phoenix. That's about 4 years ago.
She says, I need to get some organization down with these bar hopping lives. I'm getting drunk. All right, Renee.
That's right. It's like Austin, 6th Street. We can walk. It's fine.
Let's see here. All right, guys, we've been going for almost an hour here. If you got any last questions for Mike or me, throw them in there. I told Mike we're going to keep this to an hour. This is all about Mike tonight. He's got a great channel. Mike, tell us how to find your channel and how to contact you, what your social medias are.
That's it.
So
if you
Mike
want to
Shaw
hear all
TV.
Yeah, Mike Shaw TV. If you go on Twitter and look this guy up, you'll see that all of his conspiracy theories have been coming true. So if you want to get real political, that's the place to go for that. I think you can find me on Facebook with that too, I believe. And that's where I put I do photography. Someday I want to be an amateur photographer is my joke. And so I put my photography type stuff on Facebook, and that's where I see pictures of my grandkids. My grandson was player of the week this week in Texas, playing Texas football. He's a junior. He's a defensive tackle, but he plays defensive end too and nose guard too. He's a really great player. So anyway, stuff like that on Facebook. I don't really do Instagram. I'm on there, but let's see. And then of course that's the YouTube channel. And some of you are on my channel right now, so and I haven't been doing any videos lately. I need to change that. Christy and I are doing a challenge for October, which we kind of ripped off from Dante Ferrigno, which is 100 squats a day and 100 push-ups a day. Now, what I have found out, this being October 1st, the squats were not as big a deal for me, but the push-ups I'm struggling with. So, when it's in the morning, I can crank out 10. but I only got 40 in today and my arms are fried. So I'm really out of shape. That's going to change throughout the month. So that's going to help build muscle too, like you were talking about. So that's another thing that I'm doing, and we'll be posting some stuff like that on my channel, as well as doing lives like this. So.
All right. Well, I appreciate you, bud. Anybody got any final questions? I'm about to wrap this up. Mike, I appreciate you coming on here, bud. I appreciate the
Hey, John.
information. We'll do more of these. You're more than welcome to join my Sunday lives that I do every week at 1 o'clock. There, if you have the link, you can go on there. You can pass up and go in November, December. You can pick any Sunday that you want to be on.
Oh, cool. Okay.
A couple things I got coming up. I just got confirmation today from Dr. Tony Hampton. He is going to be on my live stream Sunday the 15th at 1 p.m. So that'll be a good live. We're going to have him on as a special guest. Brian from Wick Goes Carnivore, Ground Beef Guy, and JT from the Polka Moonshine family are also going to be on the panel. So everybody check that out. If you've got questions you want answered by a doctor, Dr. Hampton is very knowledgeable. So that'll be a good one. I got an interview with Becky from Carnivore, Oregon. And I have an interview with Kip from Carnivore Kip for the following Sunday. Cool. So I got those scheduled. I'm going to have an interview with Ground Beef Guy. That I'm getting that scheduled. I got an interview with DC from I can't think of his channel off the top of my head. That's bad. I'll have to think about it. But anyways, I'm planning out a whole bunch of these. And we're just going to keep building on it. And like I said, these also get uploaded as a podcast. So once I complete these and I download them and upload them to podcast or to a podcast that you can listen to them on your way back and forth to work or whatever. So if you missed the live today, feel free to jump on that. Other than that, this is day one of my walking challenge for October. To do 8,000 steps. I'm pretty close to that. I have to check my numbers. But it's just a post thing. It's, you post out where you're walking, post some pictures of yourself, post out, use the hashtag October Step Challenge. And, I'll be posting some of those pictures or things up on my live streams to show people, out there and enjoying outside and getting some steps in. All right, Mike, you go ahead and close this out here, bud.
Yeah, I love that. First of all, Grateful Keto wants to know 1 p.m. in what time zone. I'm assuming Central, right, John?
No, it's Eastern.
Eastern. Okay, 1 p.m. 1 p.m. Eastern.
Eastern time. I do that hour because it gets me into England and Europe around 6 p.m. their time. So, we get it to a whole bunch of the audience that the rest of the group that does lives at this time of night don't get because those people are in bed. So I try to cater to that group too on a Sunday.
Yeah, no, that's really great. Well, I just appreciate your hospitality. Anytime we all get together and talk about what we're doing and the success we're having and to encourage each other is just a really good time. And then people come in and chat amongst themselves and, get to interact with us. And I mean, it's just great. I love this community so much and I'm glad I found him and this way of eating. I just feel like I'm going to live longer, but more importantly, probably, I'm going to have a better life while I'm alive. And that means a lot. So I'm excited.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys, we appreciate you. We'll see you on the next video. The next live I got scheduled is probably with Nicole. I got a live coming up with Nicole, a former fat girl. I think that might be my next one. If not, it'll be next weekend.
Cool. She's great.
Yeah, she's great. She was on the live today. I really appreciate her. So we'll do this again. You guys have a good night, and we'll see you on the next one.